and welcome to This Car Pod.
I'm Kennan.
I'm Filippo.
And there's a lot to talk about. Let's start with the news. Taylor Swift and this.
Yes,
Okay.
that is also news.
My bad. What is this?
What do you think they'll leave their wedding in?
This kind of looks like Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
That's an F-150 and a Peugeot 208. But
What is our story
the
here?
reason they're in the news is there was a news item earlier this week. So the European Union and the United States are in a bunch of trade negotiations.
Yeah.
Because President Trump applied a 27.5% tariff to European goods, 25% tariff to vehicles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they're trying to negotiate that.
Yeah.
One of the things to come out of that negotiations is a line in one of the kind of potential agreements. I'm being very direct in my this is a potential thing language.
Possibly.
Is a line that basically says the EU and the US will accept each other's safety and emission standards.
Let me tell you something. If no other good comes out of the tariff thing, and so far, no good has.
Not a lot of good.
If no other good comes out of the tariff thing, that would be good. If they harmonized regulations, it would be so great for so many people.
It would be quite something because there's a lot of cars that don't come to the US from Europe because, well, frankly, there wouldn't be demand. Let's be honest. Nobody wants the Fiat Panda here but me. Nobody wants a Peugeot 208 here but me. But a big reason is that they don't want to have to meet all of the U.S. safety standards and the U.S. emission standards. Now, to be clear, they're not necessarily more stringent. They're different.
It's less about European cars not coming here. It's more about just like
both.
Some cars are not sold in both places because whether it's a U.S. car or Euro car because the standards are so different.
Yeah.
So it would be nice if they were harmonized. That would change a lot of stuff. We'd get the M3 wagon. I would love
Well, you get a lot of things.
Wouldn't it be nice if it applied retroactively? We could bring in an E61 M5 tomorrow.
We sold one.
That would be nice. It would have been nice if they did this, I don't know, 70 years ago. Would have been great if they, but whatever.
The thought is this would benefit both countries, right? Like, there's reasons that
Both
F-150...
countries, the United States and Europe.
In Europe, the country, the great nation of Europe.
You get my point. I'm sure that the U.S.
He's
negotiators
European,
are thinking that, great, we can then sell F-150s more easily. Those are probably not legal to sell in the EU directly. They are imported by third parties. But we can then sell these cars in Europe that right now they don't meet the emission standards. They might not meet Euro 6, upcoming Euro 7 standards. They might not meet whatever other requirements.
It is pretty wild. Like the European standards have gone pretty far in terms of a couple things that the U.S. standards haven't, including emissions, but also pedestrian safety is a huge
Flat
thing
hoods,
there.
man.
And it's not that big of a thing in the States. And I would be curious where the harmonizing falls. You know what I'm saying?
It wouldn't be harmonized. It would just be blanket. You are allowed to sell a car that only meets the European standards.
Oh, you can sell one or the other.
That is
You can meet
from
one or
the
the other.
single line that came out of that report. Yes.
Let's do it. I'll
Now-
pay tariffs if it means tariffs if it means that we can get Euro cars. Filippo, think about all of the Cupra Formentors we'd be able to have.
So many Cupra fermenters. Now, of course, they might not be able to sell in the U.S. A lot of EV manufacturers are learning that it's quite hard to navigate dealer rules in different states. It wouldn't necessarily be actually sold here. That requires a lot of networking.
What do you mean? Tesla's at the mall.
Right.
I was at the mall yesterday. There's a Porsche store there at the mall.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's Porsche design, but yeah.
No. They got cars. There was some sort of 911. And there's Audi too. They got Q5s up the brim.
Drive around the Mission Valley Mall parking lot. Like the parking garage has a section that's for Audi test drives.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's also a section that costs $6 to park closer, and I did that, but I charged it to the company.
That sounds like you.
But I'd save time for the business.
Right. To
For
pick
the
up
business.
your shorts to get back to the tennis.
No. I was turning in my computer, which I use for work purposes. That's why I have a different computer today. You want me to go on an Apple rant? I got an Apple rant ready.
Once they start making a car, you can go on the Apple rant.
Okay, so this is the thing. Do we have any news on tariffs?
Yeah, the EU, there's news today, we're filming this on Wednesday, that the EU might remove the tariffs that they applied to U.S. imports, which also means that that's unlikely to happen because they are kind of removing some of their negotiation power on this. And they may not need to. The goal is that if they remove tariffs that they apply to U.S. goods, then the U.S. will treat them favorably. I find that unlikely, this regulation thing unlikely to happen, but if it does...
we don't have it. Cool. The answer is we don't have an answer yet.
We don't have an answer yet.
Let me ask you this question, and I mean this with all the sincerity in my heart. What about Norway and Switzerland? Okay, move on to the next news story.
Do you actually mean that question? Or
Not
no?
really, but a
'Cause,
little.
I'm happy with that.
Oh, fuel pumps.
Yes.
That's gas, diesel,
Diesel.
and this is hydrogen.
That's everything.
That's you got it
Wow,
all.
the one place
Got
you
it
can fill up a Mirai.
Right.
No, you ever fill up a hydrogen car?
No.
I've done it.
What's it like?
You go to a place that's not near anything.
No.
They got them in the middle of nowhere. I mean, that's not true. And then you there's like a hose. It's like giant, and it's got a big pipe on it, and you connect it, and you have to like airlock it. It's like, and then hydrogen flows
Whoa.
into the car.
Does it
No
make-
one knows how.
Does it make a sound? Like is
I
it
don't
like
remember.
a
I don't
sound?
remember.
What is
I'm not even sure why I
Or
did
your
this.
Porsche EV.
And then
Yes.
eventually it's done, and you unairlock it, and you're good to go.
I had for a while in Europe, it was popular to have like twin power cars that were gas and what is fundamentally natural gas. And so somebody in my family had a Fiat Punto that was both. So I have filled up a car with compressed
With
natural
CNG,
gas. Yeah.
damn, like those Civics that we
Yep.
see around sometimes
was a
with the
thing.
little stickers on them.
Pretty impressive.
What's the
Pretty cool
news
thing.
story here?
Unrelated to CNG entirely. So this is a little bit in the weeds. They didn't want to talk about this, but I want to talk about this. All right. A lot of so the NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration,
Oh my God.
has rules for what kind of fuel economy, average fuel economy, each automaker must meet.
Yeah.
They're known as the CAFE standards generally. The Trump administration has said that has basically put out an executive order saying what the Biden administration did in applying CAFE standards is not something that they should have done. We're not going to enforce those anymore. So automakers that previously paid substantial fines won't be paying those fines, at least under the current administration. Between 2019 and 2020, Stellantis paid $190 million in fines for not meeting those standards. They've paid since 2018 $773.5 million in those fines.
Wow.
Which is real money.
real
They now no longer need to, which is notable for them because it means that they can, first of all, save hundreds of millions of dollars a
Recoup
year.
some of the cost of the development of the Charger EV.
Yeah, correct. And
What did that car cost to develop? 100 million, 50 million, 75 million? I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone write into us from Stellantis clandestinely and tell us. This is the money all back in their pocket.
Yep. And also, I mean, they lose any disincentive from manufacturing less efficient cars or investing in more efficient cars. They lose the incentive to invest in more efficient cars. There's also a flip side to that. The NHTSA has not, according to a lawsuit by Rivian, processed any of the required notifications from 2022 or forward. They're like regularly delayed by a couple years, but they've not done it for 2022, which they were supposed to. Which
So
means
Chrysler's just not going to pay even for a couple
for
of years
2022.
where Biden was president.
Yes, correct.
Why
And
does Rivian care?
Rivian cares because they, as with every other EV manufacturer, sell credits to other manufacturers to offset that. Rivian doesn't build any gas-powered cars. They more than meet that standard. They get credits back, and they can trade those.
So Rivian is upset because Stellantis was going to be their customer.
They were going to sell $100 million worth of credits.
So Stellantis is up 100 million. They don't have to pay government fines.
By the way, these are not all Rivian's credits.
Rivian is down 100 million.
Yeah.
That they were planning on raking in.
Yeah.
And everybody's either happy or mad.
Everybody's happy or mad. Tesla has sold billions of dollars of credits that now, at least in the U.S., won't really be realistic credits for them, realistic revenue source for them.
Right. The credit thing is a big deal.
fascinating.
The credit thing is a big deal.
And so is the fine. I mean, those are some hefty fines that no longer apply. They really change.
We'll see how long this
Financials.
lasts.
Yeah.
It's so based on the political climate, which can change pretty frequently.
Right. And you also have to worry a little bit about, does a future administration apply these retroactively? Do they apply fines retroactively? Maybe for years where there was technically a fine to be had.
No one's applying anything retroactively. You're good, you're good. Move on.
Okay.
What do we got next? Ooh, an
So
Acura.
speaking of electric cars, so this is
This looks like an NSX
very much like an
and a
NSX.
McLaren had some sort of thing with a Rimac Navara.
That's well, you know what? That's not far off. So this is the BYD Yangwag U9 Track Edition, and the reason we're talking about this is that it accomplished something pretty amazing recently. Now this car makes 2,959 horsepower.
Okay.
Ample, some would say.
Can I just
And
say-
it was put to good use recently. No, wait. It was put to good use recently as at Irlese, where Top Gear famously did the test of the Veyron, where Volkswagen does a lot of their high-speed testing. It hit 293.54 miles an hour, making it the fastest EV by quite a margin.
Is
And
that the fastest car?
technically Bugatti was able to hit 300 miles an hour, but this also, just like the Bugatti, only did it in one direction. To have the world record, it's an average of going in one direction and coming back the other way.
Is it depressing for us that when we were children, the fastest car in the world, McLaren F1, the Bugatti Veyron, and now it's the BYD Yangwag U9
Track Edition.
Track Edition. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. You got to make sure you add that. Yeah,
Why is
It
that-
feels
why?
hollow to me somehow.
I mean,
it's just like-
Give me a name. Call it the BYD Vapor.
Well,
Ooh.
the McLaren F1, like 241, I believe, was its top speed. That was a huge margin compared to what was the fastest car before that. Was it the XJ220?
In our world,
In our
the
world.
fastest car before
yeah,
that
not
was
the roof Yellowbird
you
nonsense.
roof this or that crap that nobody cares about.
Modified 911.
May have been a XJ220 for like an afternoon, which was like 217.
Can I
Right.
point out
And
that
then the
if,
F1.
if you're not familiar with the meaning of words, F1 and U9, letter number.
Right. Once
feel
a
like-
racing
feel like really
series
think
built by a
about it,
racing
though.
team
But-
makes a lot of sense. This is named after a printer.
If you're not familiar with the meaning of words, as he said, they're the same.
You can't name it the F1 anymore. Surely Formula One will
You know
sue
what you
at
do
this
then?
point.
You know what you do? And I'm not trying to be a jerk. You know what you do? Call it the F2.
Some
I think
say
they'll
they
sue you
should
for that
have
one, too.
Well, no, then it would have been a lesser
Can I-
racing series. But my point is like the XJ220, then the McLaren F1. The McLaren F1 came out, did its thing. It held the record for a decade.
10 years.
Then the Veyron came out. That also held a record for a pretty long time.
Now the Yangwag U9 is up there at the top.
Yeah.
Is this the one that jumps?
Yes.
Did it?
You know what?
I assume.
It jumped around. It is wild. There's a video of it. It's wild to watch, like the record being set, because it really moves around at that speed, even with a professional driver and all these
It
things.
is pretty impressive that it took him 3,000
I
horsepower
know.
to overcome what must be a significant curb weight situation and
we don't know
obviously the
the
car's
range.
name.
Also, like, don't forget, when Bugatti developed the Veyron, they then went and sold them and lost, what was it? It was like $5 million. It took them they lost millions of dollars on every car they sold.
Supposedly.
Meanwhile, they came out, this feels like this came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden is just like they're able to do that kind of speed.
Yeah.
It's it is mind blowing.
This is why I'm always saying we have to continue advancing on EVs. We will not succeed by just selling the Ram 3500 dually. We have to make EVs that jump with 3,000 horsepower and can do 300 miles an hour.
All right.
This is the problem with Trump. All right, go ahead.
Here's what I would like to ask. All right, so this car has 2,959 horsepower.
Okay, it's not 3,000, but it's close.
I said 2950.
You got it right. He got it right. I'm sorry I rounded.
I don't round.
At that level, I round.
There is a base U9, right? Which is the underlying car. How much horsepower do you think the base U9?
It's like 1,700. We were looking
It's insane. The base one has 1,287.
base model.
So this
That's a
one has
17.
1,672 more horsepower than the base model.
Well, don't
and it has 3,000.
Don't forget-
Each of these numbers is insane.
I think the Veyron Super Sport went from 253 miles an hour at the standard car to 259 miles an hour, 261, and they had to add an extra 250 horsepower just
Right.
to do that.
Well-
the aerodynamic drag at that speed is hard to explain.
I know, but like that's so much baseline power.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like the number is more
That's
than
the
the
world
sheer
we're in now.
automatic.
That's the world we're in now. We got power everywhere. And a good example of that is... Oh, I was hoping it'd be the Phantom in the Pool story. All right, what do you got? We got Mercedes and BMW in the same picture.
Crazy.
Oh, God.
Two-
Are they warring?
Two renowned adversaries.
Correct. There is apparently BMW and Mercedes are in talks to have Mercedes buy engines from BMW.
Yes, the most reliable part of any BMW, its engine.
All right, so
How
the
many more you
engine...
got? We can just get through all the.
Oh, I don't know. They really want Mercedes just wanted to add rod bearing problems to their list of issues.
The
It's a
engine,
lot.
they're talking about engines for the CLA and the GLA.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, Mercedes has invested heavily in EVs. They probably don't have a new generation of very low emissions, high efficiency, small engines.
Yeah.
Because why would they? It's for a couple product lines that they expected to not make with gas power anymore.
Right, yep.
Partnering with somebody else saves them a ton of money from developing their own engines. It was kind of inevitable to some extent, but it is wild to see the two most famous German competitors potentially collaborate.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course. Anything.
The GLA was also sold as a Nissan at one point.
The GLA was.
All of this
yes,
is
it
true.
was the Infiniti QX35.
Mercedes-Benz just trying to get out of any obligation to these vehicles.
I think the Mercedes developed that vehicle incredibly.
I think they did too. But you get my point.
Is QX35 right?
QX30.
Sounds 30.
That was
The
before they went to
35
that.
was a hatchback.
I don't think there was a hatchback.
No, there wasn't, but that would have been it if
Would have
Infiniti
been.
continued.
Well, that's interesting. You know, I always found it unusual. These automakers seem like they're such adversaries. I always found it unusual that at one point that 10-speed automatic went into both Ford's and General Motors'.
Still do.
Yeah, and like that was, to me, that was like the beginning of my realization as a child. This happened maybe 5 years ago. That
Child that you were.
that maybe they don't hate each other like we thought they did. You know what I mean?
Maybe it's just business.
Maybe the multinationals are just kind of doing their thing, and we're all down here fighting the fight on the streets, like
Right.
at the takeovers. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think that's absolutely true. And honestly, in our conversation with RJ, like, he was talking about how the CEOs do all talk to one another.
They're pals. And I'm over here, and I got a decal on my Ram of Calvin peeing on a Ford logo. But then I realize they all like each other.
That's a great reference. But it is interesting, especially as a diehard BMW fan who grew up kind of with a slight against Mercedes-Benz.
Wow.
It makes sense from your perspective, like
Yeah.
you said. And this is going to be a short-lived thing anyway.
Maybe. It says, this thing also says the companies could work together on a shared engine plant in the US as well. Mercedes and BMW.
Gotta build them.
The problem is you got this economies of scale situation. This is why I'm absolutely convinced that the supercars of today are going to be considered rare by the standards of the future. Because economies of scale has become such a big thing that a 300 unit production run is over. Like a 3,000 unit production run is now considered to be like incredibly rare.
Yeah.
By today's standards. Mercedes and BMW are making engines together. What has happened to our world, Kennan?
I don't know. It's been turned upside down.
Imagine if there was an E-Class that was driving around with your S62.
Ooh, and a manual.
And imagine.
No.
Yeah,
It would be an Alpina
That'd be wrong.
situation.
Okay, quick story. Last month, I got a text saying I'd won some random sweepstakes I'd never entered. All they needed was my bank info. Yeah, nice try. Scams are everywhere, and that's why I like knowing my money is locked down with Cash App. When it comes to your money, you deserve to feel safe from fraud and to feel in control. And that's exactly what you can expect with Cash App. When you get the Cash App card, you also get perks like exclusive early access to nationwide concert pre-sales and discounts on popular brands. And if something suspicious pops up, Cash App will automatically decline the purchase. They'll send you a heads up to confirm if it's you, and you can then instantly lock or unlock your card from your phone with just one tap. Plus, there's 24/7 fraud monitoring watching your back. You can spend, save, and live your life knowing your money's right where you left it, with advanced built-in security, protections you can count on, and help when you need it. You can order your Cash App card in the app or at cash.app/card. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real. Just download Cash App, use our exclusive referral code CARPOD in your profile, send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sudden Bank, member FDIC. Instant discounts provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures.
All right, give us the next news story.
McLarens.
Oh.
So a couple weeks ago, I guess it was over a month ago now, we talked about this McLaren collection that Tom Hartley Jr. was selling. It was basically every special McLaren was owned by one guy. He ordered them all new. I believe they all had the same serial number if memory serves.
They were all orange, I'll tell you
They're
that.
all
except
orange.
that one.
And
that
there's
one.
only one desirable one, and it's the F1 in the middle.
Well, that's not, wait a minute. The Sennas are cool. What, that is just bad.
That's bad. That's not orange.
That's the worst thing I've ever seen in my
The
life.
Alpha.
And
Yeah,
I
the
think we
Alpha is
all would
really
agree about
quite
that.
poor.
There's also some sort of poorly modded MP4. But anyway,
Right. Right. Regardless, they all sold to one individual. Now, the amount hasn't been disclosed, and it hasn't been disclosed to, but we all suspected that they would probably go to one person so they wouldn't break up the collection. That's exactly what has occurred.
can I ask you a question? Do you think Tom Hartley is one of like the premier sellers of incredibly high-end cars?
Yep. In the UK, it seems to be a European thing specifically where there are like very
People
high-end dealers.
sell-
He's one of them without question.
Tom Hartley is an absolute G. Tom, if you're watching, you're a G. We saw you driving that 275 GTB in the Tour d'Elegance. Killing it. But anyway, do you think, given that these things sold in a matter of weeks, do you think he regrets renting out the racetrack for the photo? Probably cost some money. Do you think like he could have just kind of put him in a car park? Yeah, that's what they say.
Right. They do like the work.
And just kind of made it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but this is
Probably does.
cool.
You know,
Well,
like had like a Skoda
He got to
Fabia in the
he did a
background.
couple laps.
What,
Was
do you
worth
think
it.
He did some laps.
Well, I think he wanted that experience, and therefore you do a business reason you find a business reason to go there.
it is
also-
one of the great photos.
Also, let's be honest, storage facility where the cars were kept probably wasn't that far from the racetrack, and so
Well,
Yeah.
that's true.
relatively easy to get them there.
You get my point, though. The
Good
thing
photo.
is just sold like that. Anyway, they all went to one person who now has a new McLaren F1. A lot of McLaren F1s trading hands. There was the one in Monterey. There's this one. I heard about another one.
Yes,
When
there
did I
was
hear
a third one. It is interesting. They do seem to be trading hands more publicly, not publicly, I guess, but more visibly. Because normally these cars trade hands behind closed doors. They go to the same 200 people in the world who have
I
that kind
also
of money.
sincerely believe that a lot of McLaren F1s sold to people who were not that rich, who paid $1 million, but it wasn't like, and now suddenly their car is like half their net worth and they're like, I got to get out of this thing.
Yeah.
Like that happened with GTOs a lot throughout the years.
Yeah, sure.
250 GTOs. And I bet that's happening in some cases in these cars. People are like,
Gotta assume.
it's worth 25 mil. I can't really drive it anymore. Like,
Right. To be clear, that's not the case with this one. The guy who
Yeah.
owned these passed away, and his family didn't want the cars, understandably, and so they got rid of
what would you do if you're the family who inherits this collection?
Well, I mean, it's like
I
they're
got an
all
orange 720S.
Well, they're all orange, never driven to mine.
Most of them were never driven. It said like of the however many there were, 39 or whatever, like, oh no, it's 19 McLarens, 17 of which were never driven.
Wow.
Yeah.
According
Which
to
two
the
were?
drive.
Which two were, you think?
I think the F1. I think the old ones were driven. Probably the F1. And I bet he did a couple laps in whatever this is.
Right.
Is that a 675 LT?
Nobody knows.
No.
How do you know?
I
think
Aura.
that's an
No, I think that's a 650S. I can't tell.
Yeah, okay.
I'll tell you what.
Which is not a special
What is the difference between that car and that car, aside from the wheels?
I'll tell you what, it's not the engine. It's the same
These
engine.
cars all have the same engine.
Except for one, except for the V12. That's right.
But it's kind of nice though because you got a spare on hand. You know,
Right.
Your turbocharger blows in your speed till you pop into your
is-
Sabre.
It's pretty likely.
All right, that's an interesting story. Move on to the next one. What else we got?
Ooh, another
Porsche.
interesting story.
Oh, you think this is interesting?
No.
We're not confirmed on this.
You would think that this is my
Okay,
story, but it isn't.
so-
It's
so
Filippo.
a gentleman named Oliver Bloom has been the CEO of Porsche since 2015. Since 2022, he's also been the CEO of the Volkswagen Group.
Yeah.
So
the
he's
whole
CEO of
thing
two
generally.
companies at the same time.
That are both publicly traded companies.
It's like that fella, little Marco Rubio, who does all sorts of stuff in the government. He's the Secretary of State, and he does all sorts of things now.
There have been Porsche shareholders specifically that are a little upset by it because they believe that it is impacting Porsche's stock price to not have a dedicated CEO, and that also he can't focus fully on Volkswagen's problems and Porsche's problems successfully. So there are rumors, but that I seem fairly confirmed that Porsche is starting a search for a new standalone CEO that will not also be the CEO of Volkswagen.
Porsche's had a tough time lately. It doesn't look like that from the
No, but
from the
it-
outside because
'Cause-
you see them. There's people driving their GT3s and doing burnouts in Monterey, but. Porsche's had a lot of problems selling cars in China. EVs have been a huge hit, like to their business. No one's buying Macan EV or Taycan anymore.
Profits were down 90% in Q2.
Huge decline in profits. I'm reading here that Porsche stock shares are down 45% since 22,
Yep.
which is significant because the market's probably up 60% since 22. So that's a really big delta. And of course, tariffs.
That doesn't make sense,
this-
like, period.
Is this
Porsche's
the
a-
first major setback they've had since like the recession when people weren't buying
I
sports
mean,
cars?
what is a setback? Like, there's still like
Well, 90% drop in sales is
No, 90% drop in profits.
oh, profits. Okay.
And there was also that time that ship sank that had all the Porsches, including Matt Farah.
Matt
That was a
Farah,
bad
God
one.
that
tried to
happens a
kill it,
lot, though.
but-
That does.
Remember when that happened to Mazda?
Yeah.
You Google, there's pictures of Mazdas upside down.
Oh,
and you know what
what a
happens
shame.
to all those cars?
I hope they were all CX-70s.
It was like, no, it was years ago.
I know. But they could, CX-7.
CX-7.
E.
You know what happens to all those cars? They destroy them all.
Sure.
Because you were upside down on a ship. Some of the cars weren't underwater. Like some of those cars are probably good to go. They destroy them all. They have to. Or maybe they send them to Eastern Europe. But
Same thing.
no, my God. Okay, so Porsche, it will be interesting. It's obviously clear. It was clear from the beginning that it would be better to have someone who was specifically focused on each brand individually. It is surprising that the Germans would allow things to get to this point. However, I've learned with the Germans, when they find somebody they believe is competent, they put enormous amounts of pressure on that individual to deliver. And sometimes he does.
Sometimes.
You know,
Like Friedrich Pike.
there was a time when Porsche had an American CEO,
What was his name?
Howard Schultz.
That's the CEO of Starbucks or the founder of Starbucks.
Spoken
Rather.
with such certainty.
No, it was the Porsche had an American CEO. Peter Schutz was his name.
Oh wow! So it
Howard
sounds
Schultz
German.
is the Starbucks guy. That's where it
right.
came from. He's also American. Peter
Yeah.
Schutz, and you know what he did? He drew the line on the wall.
What?
You don't know the story?
No,
The
please.
story
regale
is he was in a room meeting high-level product strategy planning. You don't know the story, seriously?
us. Legit.
And the plan in the late 70s, in the early 80s, was that the 911 would end and the 928 would replace it because it was front engine V8. It was kind of where sports cars were going at that time in the 70s. And but like corporate, you know the story, right? Corporate morale was down at Porsche because the 911 had been in production for 20 years. It was beloved, but it was old. And the famous story is there's a board on his wall. Peter Schutz, there's a board on the wall in his office, and it's got the lines where all the cars end. Like 911 ends here, and 928 goes like this, and then there's future product here. And he walks up, he picks up a marker. They're all talking about. He picks up a marker, and he walks up to the line for the 911, and he draws it off the wall or off the board and onto his wall in his office, and continues the 911.
That today would be a great LinkedIn post.
God, Filippo's so corporate.
He's exactly right. That is exactly what people would say.
Now, Friday afternoon, there'll be a lot of LinkedIn posts that are variations of that.
I have a friend who actually met Peter Schutz, and he asked him about that story, and Peter Schutz insisted that it was true. All right, do we have any more news?
Yes, now we're getting to what you really want to talk to.
Wait, there was people in the pool?
So, yes. So
What?
Rolls-Royce, to celebrate 100 years of the Phantom nameplate, decided that they were going to do something that rock stars have done in the past, and they were going to put a Rolls-Royce in a pool.
Rock stars have done that primarily on drugs.
Right, exactly. Rolls-Royce, esteemed, the epitome of class and culture and taste, decided to do something that, drug-fueled rock stars.
Okay, great.
A very interesting choice. Now, admittedly, when I saw they have put out a ton of pictures on social media of this, they all look like AI to me, and so I was very skeptical. But I found pictures of them.
So they destroyed the
loading.
car.
Well, so it was a pre-production car that had to be destroyed anyway.
Oh, okay, got it.
And so it's not like they produced one for this specifically. And they built a platform that it sat on, so it wasn't just like rolling around in the pool. But people then went and swam around this Phantom in a pool.
But you don't want to swim in. I mean, isn't there fluid draining it? Like, doesn't this pool have to be treated?
Oh,
It's
Like they
almost
drained all of it. I mean, I'm sure then the pool has to be cleaned and everything.
Where
I'm
is
sure
this
also-
pool? This is a
in England
giant
somewhere.
pool. It's a pool in England.
do you
Evidenced
think-
by the people who are really taking in the sun. They see it 3 times a year. So.
Keith Moon drove a Rolls-Royce into a swimming pool in Flint, Michigan.
Allegedly.
That's where the
Allegedly.
water problems in Flint began. It was when his Rolls-Royce went into the swimming pool. Look at that,
Yeah.
Filippo.
Water.
Look into that.
The water has not been drinkable in Flint for a long time. Allegedly, that story seems to be more. There's no
It's like a
photos of it.
But regardless,
but it
so-
seems like very plausible.
But what I didn't realize, and I'm looking at a lot of pictures, and this is the only one I can see like this. There were people hanging out in the pool. I don't buy it.
The people look photoshopped.
You think the people are fake?
No,
Every
I
angle of
believe
it looks photoshopped.
You
Yeah.
do have an unusual variety of folks that doesn't seem right. Like you have kids playing ball. This guy's doing like a distance swim. That guy's just sitting in a rat. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm not so sure.
Not confident here. Also, there's a fountain. That might be real.
The fountain's
fountain's
real.
real.
I look at other pictures in the fountain. There's a fountain.
Yeah.
This is hard-hitting news.
This is what you come to the car
Cars
to
and Bits.
this car,
Whatever this
car pod, whatever
podcast
we're
is called.
That's what you come to us for.
You come and see.
But I'll
This.
tell you what, a Rolls Royce in a swimming pool.
You think that guy got in the pool? He's the guy. Go to the next slide.
there he is?
That's him.
That's him.
They said all the workers are all right. Put on your swim trunks.
Once again, sometimes you want to have a pool day with your company, and
Yeah.
you find a marketing reason to do it.
That's so true.
Right off. Especially
right
like
off
to drain the pool like it's Caddyshack.
Right.
All right, is that our final news story? Because I got a lot
That's
to talk
the
about. We
end
got to
of the
move on to the
news.
Talk Cars segment, which is sponsored by Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting married.
Really?
Yeah, they are sponsoring this.
That's so nice of them.
They wanted to make sure people knew and like kind of get the word out. And obviously we have a big reach. Okay. The Talk Cars segment. I want to start by talking about my 2024 Toyota Sequoia.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I took it in for service.
Congratulations. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, at the dealership
Yearly.
over here.
did it
Last
need?
year, I went with you in a Volkswagen bus to
That's
pick
a
it up.
great story. What does it need? Did you?
Well, I went over there, and what it needed was a light had illuminated on the dashboard that said "Service Recommended."
Oh, yeah.
and that's good for me because if it hadn't illuminated, I never would have serviced it because that's the level at which I'm interested.
Some of us call them idiot lights, but you know.
Yeah, well, that's good. So anyway, took it in, and you know what happened? The most amazing thing happened to me. There was a fellow named Adam there who at the dealership who was my service technician, my service writer, and he brings me in, and I'm all like, "Oh God, this is going to be a big one."
Right.
And he says, "This service is free."
Really?
Yeah.
Because of Toyota Care?
I guess I have something where the services are free.
For 3 years, yeah.
And it's good that I took it to the dealer because I wasn't gonna.
Wow. You would have had to spend $100 at a different shop.
Here's what he told me, though.
Wow.
He said the next service is free only if I do it before 25,000 miles or before March of 26.
Oh, so
There's no concern about the 25,000 miles. The car has 17.5 on it now. By March, it'll have 17.6.
Yeah, but you won't need service again because it will have driven 100 miles.
I'm curious if they would pay for another oil change.
Yeah, they would.
I don't know.
Time.
I think you only get 2 oil changes within that first couple years of ownership. You know what I'm saying?
But was the last one part of Toyota Care?
I could have sworn also that I paid for the first one.
They actually only give you the second one for free. It's
Anyway,
quite a move.
I got this Sequoia now, and it's doing its thing. I got to tell you, Filippo, I can't explain to you how often I think about getting an LX700H over trail.
Yeah. So you had that car
Yeah.
as a press car 9 months ago.
Yeah.
And at the time, we looked deep at whether there were deals on 700Hs, and there were not.
They had just come out.
Are there
They've been
deals
out-
now?
They've been out for a while. And so I looked,
Yeah.
and I look often. And I looked, and here's what I discovered. Carlsbad Lexus has one,
Wow, really?
and they're offering a few grand off. However, there's also stuff on it like VIN etching and door guards. So
You want to call and negotiate?
It's like 117,000. Yeah, if you can get that down to, it's 117 sticker, or a 120 sticker, they're offering 117. If you can get it down to 83, I'm a buyer today.
Wow.
Today.
I don't think I can do that.
Filippo's famed negotiation
I think-
tactics. Let me right smack dab in the middle of asking. That's yeah.
And then even still, I won't get the car. That's the great story about that story. After he went back and forth negotiating with that dealer the whole day, and we agreed to meet at their asking price, I ended up not getting
to
the
be
car.
fair, you then found a different one. But I got you the deal. And then they sold the car to somebody else. I don't remember what happened. Something like that.
You got me the
I got
deal,
you
all
two
right.
deals, actually. There was a nice GMC dealership in Utah that also helped me out. And they went down $1,000. So
Well, I only wanted a CPO one. I thought we were only talking to Toyota. Anyway, the point is the Sequoia's been serviced, is ready for its next adventure.
I'm so excited for it to have an adventure again next June.
No one really teaches you about credit. It's a huge part of adult life, but it's such a blind spot when you're starting out. I take my finances very seriously, but even then, I had to learn some things the hard way. It's easy to make a misstep or not realize how much your score is affecting your life. That's why I'm a big fan of what Ava is doing. Ava is a credit building app that makes it so easy to improve your credit fast so you can get better rates on loans, pay off debt faster, and keep more money in your pocket. You can be approved in just 5 minutes. No credit check, no interest. Ava connects to bills or subscriptions you're already paying and helps you build your credit in the background. Most members see results in a week, and it's just $6 a month. They report your on-time payments to all 3 major credit bureaus every single day. Take control of your credit now. Download the Ava app, spelled AVA, today, and use our code CARPOD, that's CARPOD, to get your first month totally free. Get the Ava app and use our code, again, CARPOD, so that you know that you heard it from us. And get your first month of Ava free. That's CARPOD. Thanks to Ava, and now get yourself some good credit.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, Filippo, give us your talk card.
Yeah. All right. So about 2 months ago, thanks to our friends at Expel, my GTI has better tint. So when I bought the GTI, it had really dark tint. Way too dark tint. I got pulled over once for how dark the tint was. Right. And it had like a dark strip at the top of the windshield.
Oh, you didn't like that?
Didn't love that. Thanks to Expel, I now have, and Protective Film Solutions in Santa Ana that did the work, I now have like a UV protective, less dark tint on every window. Mm-hmm. And we've been driving to Arizona a lot in the GTI. And like it felt like, okay, this is less hot than usual. But this last weekend, I drove to Arizona in my station wagon, which just has like the regular tint that Mercedes put on it. And it was really, really hot.
Yeah.
Like the sun driving through desert has an impact. And I was surprised.
The XPEL that you have, is it just clear but it repels?
The windshield is effectively clear, but it's UV protective. And the sides are some percent that I don't remember.
But it does a good job.
It does a stunningly good job.
You ever driven through Arizona in the summer?
No.
It's hot.
Why would I want to do that?
It's wild.
I understand it gets hot. It's interesting that you point. So I also had mine done.
Yeah.
Not with Expo. I had something else done, and it is. It makes it. I had tint on my car and it was much
Yeah.
older, but now like heat rejection technology
It's
from a number of
incredible.
manufacturers is so good.
I didn't believe it. Like
It really
legitimately.
makes a difference, but it does require you to be like when I drove to Monterey, I was kind of out in Central California and it was 103 degrees. Not quite like Arizona,
Yeah.
but like the sun, it makes a huge difference to have that on.
So you're cruising
Surprising.
around.
but you're cruising.
You're cruising around with this XPEL.
Yeah.
Is XPEL sponsoring us? in some way?
They sponsored the
Oh.
the
You got free XPEL?
got free XPEL.
Did I get it?
We could have talked about that, but
Damn!
Man, you guys bought it for me for a birthday present along with some of
Yeah.
our other
Yes,
friends.
I
So
know.
you're the good ones.
I know I could have saved money.
So,
Gift to
so
Kennan.
you're going out there and it's keeping you cool.
It
in
is
your
doing
GTI.
I've kind of just assumed that Tint was Tint.
No.
And my station wagon has tint. It's 12 years old and not that dark, but like, I assumed it was just tint. But it turns out that it's improved.
Yeah,
Technology
a lot.
has
no,
done
it,
stuff.
It has. It has.
And when I first got it and drove to Arizona, I thought, oh, it's a little bit cooler. But like, no, it makes a real difference.
Yeah, absolutely it does.
So thanks, Expel and Protective Film Solutions.
So he's driving around with free tint. This is what a Filippo dream to
I
have
know.
happened to our situation.
I know,
I
he's
want
got-
some free tint.
He likes the perks, you know.
I don't really have a car I would put the tint on, but I
Right.
would like some free tint nonetheless.
Right.
Okay, well, congratulations,
Thank you.
Filippo, because you deserve it the most because of your frequent trips to Arizona.
Thank you. There were many days where we would drive 40 minutes and the wagon would not actively get cool. Like it would be cooler, but it would not be cool. And maybe I should tint that too. Or maybe
yeah.
I should get rid of
Now
it.
that-
Maybe XPEL can hook you up with another freebie there.
Maybe.
Why'd you take the station wagon last time and not the
We had a
GTI,
lot
given
of
the
things
tint?
in the car.
Yeah,
And
but
so
you-
we needed to fit them
But
all.
you had all the GTI. GTI can fit a lot of
The
stuff.
station wagon can fit more.
He's also done with the GTI.
No, I love the GTI. I'm done with the wagon, but that's a different.
Oh my God!
Oh my god.
The wagon's great too, but I'm tired of it.
He's done with all his cars.
I am
He's
done with all my cars.
simultaneously
I really-
done with them and never wants to
If
get
he
anything
could
else.
just be on a bicycle.
I really want to lease
Maybe
a
yeah.
new EV because lease deals are phenomenal, and then buy something fun.
like
And
a
maybe
Prologue.
a good new EV. No, the Prologue is
A
good.
Prologue way.
There's nothing that would compel me to. I don't need
To what?
the badge, so I'll lease a Blazer.
What about getting
you
a pre-owned Rivian?
know? Too expensive and doesn't take advantage of
Yeah, the thing
the
about
tax credits.
one of the reasons the EVs depreciate so fast is because the lease deals are so good that like the pre-owned stuff is like kind of hard to make
Now,
sense.
it makes sense relative to buying a new
What is
Rivian.
an Equinox lease?
Name a number. You know.
Okay, I got two more cars things that I desperately want to talk about. One of them is Honda. We got to talk about
We
Honda.
got to talk about Honda. We got to talk about
Another one though, something that hit me that I wanted to bring up. Last week we had a conversation about subscription service
Yeah.
for horsepower.
People did not like my
People
take.
hate it. Filippo was like, "I'm into subscription for horsepower," and people like, "You're the worst
I-
person ever."
I agree with the people. I hate
I
the idea.
generally agree with the people. However, I was thinking of this as an example of how capitalism has really we are the way we are because we've learned this, like the way that capitalism has made us spend money. Okay, let me give you an example. The Lexus IS 250. This is just the first one that came in my mind today when I was on the elevator. Lexus IS 250 and Lexus IS 350, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't cost Lexus anymore to build the 350 than it does the 250. Okay, like let's be honest. Like there's a slightly more material, I guess, in the bigger
Right.
engine, but like we're talking about $100 a car, maybe, right? But there's like an $8,000 price difference.
Right.
And so people are like, but I paid for the car, I want the whole car. Well, but like a lot of times you're paying more for what is ultimately something that you could have had, but the automaker is gatekeeping it behind a paywall. But in that case, the people are fine with it, right? And if you really think about that IS 250, IS 350 example, especially, like you own the car 5 years, you paid $8,000 more, you sell it, you maybe get $3,000 back. Like there was actually a monthly cost.
Yeah.
But in your mind, you own it. In your mind, you have it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was Jeremy Clarkson who made this, or maybe it was James. He was talking about, it was James who was talking about the Ferrari F430, like when they came out with the Scuderia. It's like, the Scuderia is as good as the cars they could have made. Why didn't they just make the normal car as good as that?
They're always doing this. And so I think that and honestly, people don't seem to have a problem with it when it isn't per month.
Right.
They
That's-
just seem to have a problem that it's per month. But like you could argue, and also I was still trying to think. And by the way, I don't support the per month subscription thing for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, like we are tuned in our minds to be like, oh, it's totally okay that Lexus charges me $8,000 more for the 350 that cost them the same to make.
Every 911 that's not a special one has the same 3-liter twin turbocharged flat six. Every single one.
McLaren, even the special.
Every McLaren, every AMG.
Doesn't cost them that much more to make a GTS compared to the whatever.
There's a lot of that. But it's
But
interesting
accept
because
it.
people are totally okay with that.
Yeah.
And in some cases, there's literally, I mean, the IS is a good example because there's not even suspension. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. But there are other examples of that. People are chill with that. But the moment you put it behind a subscription. Now, the real dream of the subscription model is that the car is cheaper to buy and that you only subscribe to the features you want, which I think would be actually beneficial to the consumer. Yeah. But we all know that would never happen.
No, unfortunately.
Because greedy corporations.
Greedy corporations. Not cars and bids, for God's sake. We're altruistic.
We are. You know what we don't talk about nearly enough? During COVID, every automaker, but especially GM, just decided that they weren't going to ship cars with like heated seats. Yeah. And if you look at the window sticker for cars sold at that time, it said like, no heated seats, minus $400. But you couldn't order it without heated seats. So even if you don't want them, you have to spend that $400. And now if you did want it, you had no choice. But like they're doing that in their packaging and content thing decisions
I see your point.
But they got away with it.
They
got away with it.
Just taken away the heated seats, and so if you lived in the South, you didn't want them.
And they could add it.
But they don't allow that.
Right.
But suddenly, when they had to do it that way, they were like, "Yep, no problem."
And apparently, it was worth $400.
That is an interesting point.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about this Honda, and then I want to talk about Kennan's situation in Chicago. Honda. I got the passport right now. That's why I came up.
You remember when they held that up from it?
They held it up, 3 of them.
3 of them.
And I got the passport right now, and I am so disappointed in Honda.
Really?
Yeah, because Honda makes 6 core products. They make the incredibly successful, popular, great vehicles.
Name them.
HRV, CRV, Pilot, Odyssey, Accord, Civic, right? Those are the big 6.
Odyssey hasn't been redesigned since 2015. But
yeah, but it's a huge seller. Absolute killer car. All 6 of those cars are absolute killers.
Yeah.
Like there is not one person in the world who shouldn't be driving one of those 6 cars. Unless you have any interest in automobiles, and then you shouldn't be driving one of those 6 cars. No, the CTR is cool. But anyway, other than that, Honda is so afraid. They're so terrified to do anything.
Well, you remember the Ridgeline. You didn't even mention that, and they sell it.
Yeah, but that's an example of what I'm talking about. When I was a child, all right, Honda was the first hybrid. Honda came out with a mid-engine supercar to rival Ferrari. Honda was the first that came out with that blind spot camera, which, by the way, they discontinued just as everybody else started coming out with it.
Yep.
And now Honda comes out with this. The reason I bring this up is this passport is over here. And it is such a cop-out. It is such an utter cop-out to this segment. And I was giving him the sales numbers before. Do you know, Kennan, take a guess as to how many Toyota 4Runners are sold every year in the United States?
Oh, an innumerable amount, all of them. Genuinely, I can't imagine.
On average, 130,000 4Runners,
That feels
120,000 Broncos, 200,000 Wranglers.
Wow. Okay.
In passports, 40,000.
Wow.
And I asked the guy, why don't you just go body on frame and go locking diff and do the thing that is so popular? And he said, we wanted to provide a more balanced experience for the customer. And I said, the customer doesn't want a balanced experience. They're going out there buying all these trash cars that ride terribly. Go make a car. And Honda, especially, is a company that makes all these power sports, right? These ATVs and these side-by-sides, like that's a Honda hallmark. And it would be so obvious for them to graduate into this world. And they're just afraid. They're afraid of anything. The Prelude is automatic. They're afraid of like really going out there.
I think they are afraid of that. I think that they would also say that the new passport is styled to look more aggressive, and that will
styled
resonate.
That way.
That what consumers actually want is something that looks like that, but drives better.
But the sales numbers prove that is not what they want.
The new passport has been for sale for a month. That's last generation passport, which we all agreed was a mediocre.
No,
product.
Honda wouldn't have agreed to that. They were trying to sell that car, and they pitched it even then as the off-road alternative to the Pilot.
This is more off-road than the old passport.
Well, you know what? You care to make a little wager
I
as
don't
to the
think
sales discrepancy?
Do you want me to add this to my calendar? We can circle back in a year.
I just don't get it. Like, I know that it's hard to develop a body-on-frame platform and do the locker thing, but 4Runner has been out there. It's in the time that Honda's been kind of screwing around with not doing this, 4Runner has sold over 1 million units in the United States. It is not easy to sell 1 million of anything. No. And since 15, 4Runner's probably sold 1.3, 1.4 million cars in the United States. Yeah. And Honda comes out with this Pilot base. Yeah, same gen. Not much work then there.
No.
Where is the Honda of yesteryear?
It's worth noting that Honda has never made a body-on-frame vehicle. The one that they have sold 2, you know they are.
The Passport and the Crossroad and the SLX.
The old Passport and the SLX, which were Rodeo
the Crossroad.
and Trooper. I do, but that wasn't sold in the U.S. for the record.
Rebadge the Land Rover Discovery
Yeah.
as the Honda Crossroad.
But they never made one. Maybe they don't want to.
They didn't make a V6 until they did. They didn't make a turbo until they did.
And how did that work out for them?
Well, what do you mean? They got V6s in the Pilot, the
Every
Odyssey.
single V6 was made, when they first came out with it, was mated to a 4-speed automatic that has since
There were
that died
failures.
28 days
The NSX.
later.
You're missing the point. You're missing the point.
Accurate.
The point is, they
That wasn't on
don't
it.
they don't make anything until they do. They didn't have turbo until they did. They didn't have electric until they did.
That's true. That's true. I don't blame them for not going down that road, but I don't think they're going to find the success with the Passport that they want.
The market is, well, I think their true argument would be, this is a lot easier. You just take the Pilot,
totally.
make it smaller, and you kind of try to convince people. It's
Agreed.
a marketing car.
It's way easier.
But people don't
way
buy
cheaper.
it. They literally don't buy it, but also they don't buy it. They realize that they're being lied
But if
to.
they sell 60,000, okay, you're halfway to a Bronco without any of the development costs.
It's not none of the development costs.
With a small fraction of the development cost.
Yeah, but you got to also consider, what is the transaction price on that versus Bronco? Bronco had 3 years where they were over sticker,
Totally.
right? And resale is still crazy, and everybody's still super into it.
But then they'd have to build a little mountain inside their dealerships. They don't have room for that.
you know what they would really have to do is build a truck. Like
Yeah.
the genesis of all of this is that Honda just doesn't want to build a real pickup truck. But if they would just compete, and by the way, we could get into Ridgeline Tacoma sales here also, and that also wouldn't look pretty. If they would have just 10 years ago committed to competing with the Tacoma,
Right.
they could have a 4Runner competitor and a credible Tacoma competitor, and they'd have two more in their Core 6
I agree.
that sold massive numbers. But
agree.
they're just too scared. They're like Filippo at 40 all. He's like afraid of making a.
Just for
I've
context,
seen that happen.
in 2024, Honda sold 41,000 Ridgelines.
Yeah. How many Tacomas they sell in 24?
192,000.
Jesus.
5 times as many.
It's 5 to 1.
That is crazy. That is
5 to 1.
Yep.
Just so Honda can
Well,
save money on the platform. It's like, okay, but if you had done this 10 years ago, it's like the company that always rents their space instead of buying it. And then 30 years in the future, they look back and they're like, this is exactly that. If they had just developed the platform when this was starting to become hot, they would have 2 more really successful products right now.
Now, I will say Nissan sold more Frontiers than Ridgelines, which is tough. Tough
Remember,
position to be in.
The best time to plant a tree
Yesterday.
is yesterday. The second best time is today.
Wow.
How beautiful.
The
How
best
beautiful,
time
dude.
to develop a mid-sized body-on-frame truck SUV architecture is yesterday.
A decade ago, yeah.
It's a decade ago.
Right. Screw the
Second
tree.
best time is today. That market is not changing. And Honda, I think with that car, the Passport, is still sitting there thinking, we're not sure.
Honda
I am
hasn't
sure.
innovated in any way in 20 years.
I don't
Which is a
entirely
tough
agree
take,
with that.
but it isn't wrong.
There's a lot of great stuff on that car.
Innovative, though?
The transmission selectors, those buttons and
Which
switches.
they've been doing since that went into the Acura RLX in 2017,
But
16.
switches have existed since the 50s. But I mean, whatever.
But that specific design has been in use for a while.
Right.
I will say, there's some clever stuff in that car. There's no hump in the center,
Good.
which is pretty hard to do on an all-wheel
My
drive
family
car.
had a 2003 Honda Pilot, no hump in the center.
Yeah, I mean, that's good packaging.
Yeah, that was 20 years ago.
Well, the point is,
Right, they continue to be good
I
at it,
will,
Filippo.
but I've been in cars
I'm
this
taking-
week
Yeah, I
that
know.
still have.
I'm taking that back. The Honda Fit's packaging was innovative and excellent, and that which they developed for the Japanese market in 2004. Oh, wait, no, that was 20 years ago. Never mind. All right.
My
let's move on.
point is, okay, fine, but that's why people buy Hondas. And honestly, I think that trait of just durable stuff that you already know is exactly what people are looking for in a
Well,
body-on-frame
that's
SUV.
Yeah, true.
And
True.
Honda has the brand rep to do it. If Chevy did it with a Blazer, maybe they get it. If Hyundai tried it, people would be like, eh. But if Honda, with all their power sports and all their durability rep,
agree.
went out there with a 4Runner rival, it would sell.
Yep, I 100% agree.
Got to be called something other than the Passport, though.
If-
that
if-
feels very weak name-wise.
If Toshihiro Mibe is listening, the CEO of Honda Motor Company, as you know, hopefully he will make that directive to his team.
I just deeply believe it.
You're right.
I mean, I've always been right. I've always said all these manufacturers need a G-Wagon competitor. I've been saying this in years. I have a video that is now private on the old channel for like 10 years ago, talking about how everybody needs a G-Wagon competitor. And suddenly we're seeing some interesting things happening. BMW is now saying they want one. Lexus has Alexified the world. I think that everybody started, the Telluride became boxy, et cetera, et cetera. The Bronco showed up.
Toyota sells 30 trillion SUVs, period. a lot of which are off-road themed.
And they don't have competition. You got to also be, if you're Toyota, you got to also be sitting there going, I don't know why these guys don't compete with us. It reminds me of when I started on YouTube and Road and Trek and Car and Driver wouldn't create a YouTube channel. And it was so clear that there was a huge revenue opportunity there. And they were just like, no, we're going to sit this out. We don't believe in that medium.
Yep.
And then it all passed them by.
I thought I was pretty good about finding deals. Then I started using Upside, and now I realized that I was leaving money on the table every single day. Gas, groceries, eating out. Upside gives you cash back on all of it. It's stupid simple. Download the free app, claim your offer, pay as usual, and get paid. There are over 100,000 locations on Upside, so no matter where I am, I can open the app and find a spot nearby to earn. I've paid for an entire weekend of dining out just with the cash back I've racked up over a few months. You can earn an average of 8% back on groceries and restaurants, and the best part, you can stack it on top of your existing credit or debit rewards. That's why Upside users are earning hundreds a year, and why it's sitting at 4.8 stars on the App Store. You can download the free Upside app and use promo code CARS to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas using promo code CARS.
Kennan, tell us about Chicago.
Yes, things that have not passed us by. So we do. Cars and Beds has been doing a lot more events recently, which has been
We
a
got an
lot
events
of fun.
section.
We have an
Website?
event.
How do you go to it?
You go to cars, so it's carsandbids.com/events, or at the very top there is an events
It's
tab.
in the
you can
header?
Go to. It's in the header. So I'm glad you pay attention to the website. Now,
Wow, I love events.
so we also have some retro. So we have some stuff that we've done in the past to recap what happened at the event. So most recently, the Cars and Bids team last weekend and I went to Checked It Out 25, which was a Porsche-based event in Chicago. They set it up in this really cool part of the West Loop, and it was just Porsches, absolutely everywhere.
What was your favorite?
Well, God was there. Carrera GT was there, of course. There it is. It was black. It was 05. You may have heard of it.
Some of them were 04s.
No, that one was an 05. But
Check them
there
out.
were, I mean, when I say everything Porsche showed up, I mean everything Porsche
Yeah,
showed up, from a
718.
914 to a chopped Cayenne to the Carrera GT. I mean, to a 917. Like, everything was there. I believe the 917 was a wrap. But we also had a local artist paint this Porsche 997 hood, which we then raffled off to somebody who was in the audience and won.
That's awesome.
And it's now hanging on their wall. So remember, this is our little bit
Or they
there.
put it on their 997 or
That'd be cooler.
987. Interchangeable.
She did not. Elizabeth.
Really?
Congratulations to Elizabeth.
Is that a fact?
But it was a really great event. So many people came up to us, and the number one thing we were asked was where you were. But the second thing we were asked was, are you guys going to do more events? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
We're doing an event with IMSA. We did one recently, which you and I went to at Road America. We're doing another one at Petit Le Mans
We'll be
at
there.
Road Atlanta,
Atlanta.
which I'm very excited about in October. And we will be there doing we're going to do a huge Cars and Coffee event.
Very cool.
But nonetheless, for those who came to see us in the Midwest at Chicago, I'm very sorry I didn't mention it on the podcast. I completely forgot to do that.
Oh, yeah. I
But-
forgot. I knew you were going. I forgot.
If
to
Sean
say
was-
that.
We all did, but yeah, Sean, I'm sure, was holding his head in disbelief. But nonetheless, for everybody who came and said hello, thank you very much for doing so. I had a great time getting to spend time with people, talk about cars, not just Porsches, and it was a really lovely event. I
Do
had a
people
great
talk
time.
about non-Porsches at Porsche events? That's one of the reasons I've
Yeah.
never gone to a Porsche event.
Yes, they do. Surprisingly, they don't want to just talk about Porsches because they're car enthusiasts, and so not everybody.
I'm like
there brought a Porsche.
afraid people are going to come up to me and start talking about air cooling.
Well, you're a Porsche guy, you know.
I'm a Porsche guy, apparently. But if someone comes up to me and starts talking to me about air cooling, I have to.
You know, that never happened to me.
Nobody talked to you about air cooling?
Nobody talked to me about air
And if
cooling
they
or
didn't-
water cooling. Just
If they didn't talk to Kennan about that, who would they talk about that to?
right. That's fair. Watches. We did have had a lot
More
of good
events.
watch
We're going to do more
conversations.
events. I am excited. I
Yes.
want some events. I'm going to go to some of these. I don't see any of these that I'm attending in the coming days, but it also doesn't go that far.
Well, just keep an eye on
But
the events
Kennan-
tab on the Cars and Bids site, and you'll see where we're going to be.
Kennan and I and other people on the team will be at many, and Doug might show up.
I'll be at some for sure. I like events.
But nonetheless, Filippo and I like meeting the people, and the people want to see you too.
Any event I can go to in my car, I will be at. Filippo's got to pay to ship my car there. Okay.
Personally.
We now have to move on to the market report. The market report is brought to you by. Filippo's looking at me angrily. It's brought to you by Taylor. No, it's brought to you by Cars and Bids. Carsandbids.com.
Brought to you by Filippo's Disdain.
The best place to buy or sell a cool car.
It's brought to you by Paris Hilton in Traverse City.
Right.
I wonder what she drives around Traverse City.
Oh,
Yeah, she's probably driven in an Escalade, I would think.
I don't think there are like drivers waiting to pick up Paris Hilton from the airport in Traverse City. Like I think you land and like go to Avis and pick up like a Equinox.
I don't think Paris is going to Traverse City Avis. You know,
I saw those pictures.
You think McKeel Haggerty drives himself around Traverse City?
Yeah, he's
absolutely.
into driving.
Right. Never stop driving.
Want to talk market report? Filippo, go ahead and get us started.
Yeah. All right. I'm not somebody that knows a lot about old cars. So when I see a car like the Lotus Europa,
This sounds like I'm not somebody who knows a lot about old cars.
okay,
But
Ken
this
and I
one-
talked about the Lotus Europa in our live now this past week.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a car that just seems legitimately very cool.
Yeah.
And
Europa's
apparently
up.
it's worth $8,500.
I can't believe
not
that.
all.
Like,
No, but a lot of them. Pull up your. This isn't the only one we've sold. I'm astonished by
like
it too.
there are old cars that feel, yeah, I mean, that race car one, that's impressive. Like there are a lot of cars that to me feel really exotic and special.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anything about them, but they look cool.
Yeah.
They're old and they're vintage. Like,
Yeah.
They seem really interesting. That it turns out are very accessible from like a cost of entry perspective.
You could, go back 2 pictures. Imagine you're sitting at Asian Paradise.
Yeah.
And a Lotus Europa pulls up. That would be crazy.
That'd be cool. And you can do that for $8,500.
Yeah.
It just seems, these are such, there's a wide world of old cars.
I agree with
And
you.
some of them just seem like bargains to me.
I agree with you.
You want to know why?
Yeah, maybe there's
Why? Because
issues.
it's unreliable. That's true of old cars, though, and some old cars sell for $1 million. This legitimately is a really cool car. When these come to Cars and Coffee, you'll look at it.
Oh,
like,
I
whoa.
understand. I love the Lotus Europa. I love old cars. I'm used to pain. I don't think a lot of people, as many people as these cars age, are as into that pain.
You
Probably.
learn to become mechanically savvy.
Probably.
Because you got to do
But,
a lot of work.
Yeah, I am aware of this. Are
But
you?
there are still old cars from this era that are $1 zillion. This is a lot of cool for the money.
Yeah.
I agree. And to be clear, the S1s are worth quite a bit more. The S2s are worth a little bit less. I think that they're really cool cars. They're dramatically underpowered, of course, but it's light. It's light, it's
not-
fun,
right.
it's an experience.
It's
Pull
not,
up that
I'm not saying they're
interior.
great, but like they're so cool. It's so much style for $8,500.
Man,
Yeah, look at
imagine
that accordion-style boot on the
that is
shifter.
pretty cool. And the leather wrap, you drive this thing to Asian Paradise.
And those Porsche 914 seats.
Yeah, is that true?
Absolutely. Those are without question out of a 914.
You drive this thing to Asian Paradise, you know what? You're in British Paradise.
Wow.
Something to think about.
Yep, rainy and damp.
By the way, 914 is also not all that
Well, look,
expensive.
the
Ridgeline.
support vehicle is a Ridgeline HPD.
That's right. Honda
Oh my
Performance
God, I
Division.
take back everything I just said about Honda. This person is an enthusiast of the brand.
Just so you know, that might have just been a car also parked at Asian Paradise. Look at that.
A little air cleaner, a little carb. Yeah, no, I agree. There are a lot of very cool, accessible vintage cars people can get
Yeah.
into.
Old Alphas.
These, a lot of MGBs. Old Alfa Romeos are a
Spiders,
great
yeah.
example.
And they're
Spiders,
fun.
totally.
I assume
They're
this
fun.
is fun to drive. I've never driven one. I know old Alphas are fun to drive, and they are affordable.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to spend $1 gazillion to get into an old cool car, but you will have a really fun, exciting experience. You will have some stories to tell
You'll
along
have
the
some
way.
stories to tell.
But they are really fun, and yeah, I agree. I thought about this too when it came
It's
through.
just like, seems like such a deal.
Yeah, it's cool.
On that subject, let's talk about Miatas.
Yeah. All right. We sold a low mile NA Miata this week
Yeah.
for $16,000.
16 for this M edition.
So in 2020, 2021, part of 2022,
Yeah.
NA Miatas were like on the up and up.
Yeah.
And like the cheapest NA Miata you could find was 10 grand.
Yeah.
Something like that. I thought, but like the upper end was like 20. There wasn't a wide range. Worst to best was
Yep.
the rest. I thought that they had all cooled because the bottom end of the market has kind of cooled a little bit. A rough NA Miata is no longer $10,000.
Yeah.
But low mile.
What is a rough one? 8?
I don't know what's the lowest price one we've sold
6?
recently.
Go back.
Let's see.
9400.
9, 5,400.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
This is 2025. I mean, this was
Yeah, but, like,
July.
unmodified.
55.
wow, that car's only $5,400. Click
I
on
know.
that. Why didn't we buy that?
What
What's how many
salvage
miles
title
on
did it
that?
have?
124,000 miles
That's
in
clean title.
Minnesota.
But it's in Minnesota, so you probably
get soup
assume
and rust.
there might be some issues underneath.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it had an accident too.
So like they're still like the bottom end has cooled, but the
No, it looks fine.
the top end of the market is still surprisingly hot. $16,000
that
Miata
is that M edition. Now I will say a
That's
low
the next
mileage,
one. I know.
relatively low mileage M edition
Final year.
is that's a pretty desirable car.
But I was surprised to see that because we've sold other late M edition models. All the M editions were 1997. We've sold other late ones, and they're around that same price point, even like 2 or 3 years ago. So the nice part of the market, we sold one for 14 grand a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Like those are still seemingly going up, or
Yeah.
at least flat, which is a little surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the case with these has always been inflation pulls them up, and also it's just hard to find nice NA Miatas,
And they're
so
still cool.
Yeah.
if you want to have that experience, you had it once before. Maybe you were younger, you modded one, you ruined it, whatever. You want to just like get into one and enjoy it for a while. This is a pretty cool car, and it's just so easy to own and to work on. Yeah, we had that one in the
I love
office.
this one. This
Yeah.
base on the like cloth seats, steel
First year
wheels.
in the US.
Go back
Loved that car.
to the look at that one. Oh, Miatas. You can do anything with a Miata.
The highest price ones, by the way, are all across the auction spaces are all V8 swaps.
Yeah.
You want to sell your
Want to
for a lot of money?
it's like
Throw
it's
a
like
V in there.
575s with a stick swap.
Stick swaps, yeah.
All right, Kennan, give us an NSX take, and then we got to move on to questions.
Yes. So we also recently sold an NSX. So we sold
That one.
this one.
multiple,
Yeah.
yeah.
God, that looks nice. Click on that.
It just goes to show.
What was the mileage?
That's
Was
the
it Canada?
thing. 98,200 miles, sold for 65.
Wow.
The floor for the floor for NSXs is remarkable. Like, they
NA
are
also,
just
though.
NA1.
and NAs as well. And yeah, an NA1 in this case. I think that the floor has definitely been reached, and
Yep.
like they are just straight up desirable
Yep.
cars.
Yes,
They've made
as they
virtually
should
any
be.
mileage,
As they should be.
as they
So
should be.
cool. Back when Honda would do something.
That's right.
Back when Honda would do something. I mean, yeah, this represents like a high watermark. And
Also,
and it was in Canada?
Hate to say it,
Yeah.
and it was in Canada. Hate to say it. Go back to some of these side photos. A good NSX with those wheels,
An
and
early
like
one.
unmodded, untouched. That's like the NSX.
It's an NSX.
When I was a kid, like this is what the NSX was.
Yep.
I totally agree.
It's just, and I look at this now. I would prefer a T, but like, oh,
But I'll tell you what, it was then and it still is now. It is so cool. I really want one, but it is cool to know that they're like, seems like they're
don't
done
depreciate
depreciating anymore. And
Yeah,
Even
could buy one
automatic.
you buy one and probably not lose any money on
yeah, you could definitely, because they are not expensive to own as long as you're a little smart
Yeah.
about the whole snap ring thing, which this car may have actually been affected by.
Yeah,
91
really
Pilot.
early ones, yeah. But a lot of them have that.
But
dealt
even
with
then,
this
like
day.
that's a minor issue compared to like BMW's the engine blows.
Yeah.
That it's so funny what each car community is like their issue.
Right.
You
So-
go into the Honda world, it's like timing belts. You know,
Yep, BMW engines explode. Soon to be Mercedes product engines explode.
if they work together.
Go back to our NSX results, because that same week, 2 week ago, we sold a NSX-T, which is what Doug would want.
Yeah.
95, and this also had miles, if memory serves.
Right, and some light mods, but yeah. not
62,000 miles. I mean, that's $100,000. That's a $100,000 car.
I am so curious what a high mileage one drives like, because I've driven very low mileage examples and wonderful.
I reviewed like this one, or I think it wasn't that exact car, but I think it was further. It was a black one that was a fixed
not
headlight.
the yellow one.
It was a fixed headlight in A2.
Yeah, it'll take me a second to find, but
And it was so enjoyable to drive. I actually don't see. Yeah. Oh God, I loved that car.
yeah,
So cool.
so good.
So legit. Those cars are so fun, so easy to own, so perfectly balanced. These are the supercars for people who don't have egos. If you have an ego, you get a Countach like me. If you have no ego and you just want to have the driving experience, the purest mid-engine driving experience is just great, you get yourself an NSX. Although they're starting to become valuable in kind of ego cars themselves. I mean, really low mileage ones of these are pushing 200.
This is not an $89,000 car anymore.
Well,
I mean,
it had miles. It had like real miles, right? I'm sorry, I remember. that.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
120.
Still, I
30,000.
can't imagine that being.
But the really
not
late
that
ones are,
The late
highly
ones are
sought after
expensive.
now.
In 90 grand for
Rare.
130,000 miles, pretty legit though. Not a lot of 130,000 mile cars in the world sell for $90,000.
Yep.
It's true.
But people know that one lasts. Okay, I want to move on to the questions. The questions are brought to you by Travis Kelsey's brother, Jason, who will also be at the wedding.
you assume. We don't know the relationship.
That's true. That's a good point. I don't want to impose. You can ask us questions by clicking on the community. Go to carsandbids.com, click on the community tab, and there will be a thing in there that says questions, and you ask us questions and we'll answer them. This week, some interesting questions, and we want to start with actually go up to the first one because there's a picture associated. The question is from JSD in GW. If Tesla converted the Cybertruck to an SUV, do you feel that it would be successful and overcome the stigma associated with the truck? Seeing this rendering, my answer is no.
It would do well. It would do well.
That's pretty ugly.
If you could, yeah,
That's
but
pretty bad.
if you could turn that into like a family SUV and you could justify it as I want a large family SUV, I think it would legitimately do much better.
It's already that if you want it, though.
No, but it doesn't have third row seats. Doesn't have an enclosed cargo area. It has a tonneau cover, but I think it would do well.
I mean, it's basically that.
I legitimately think if you're Tesla, there is a market for consumers that already own a Model X, haven't felt the need to upgrade because God knows that car hasn't changed since it came out in 2016. and 2017 and would buy this.
The truck has not been particularly successful, though.
Right,
in
they should
recent
try
months. They should try this.
Yeah.
They
It's worth it.
repurpose.
It's worth it.
Would it overcome the stigma associated with the truck? No, I think it would be like
would
the
change
excursion.
it.
Where
Yeah.
you know the person driving, you know kind of some things about them.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It would be the same buyers.
Yeah,
Ironically.
it probably would. Maybe you do 4-row. Something for
Whoa.
you to think about, like a Kia Carnival. The Kia Carnival sold as a 4-row in Asia.
Really?
Oh, come on. Pull up type in, go to a new tab and do Kia Carnival 4. How do you not know this?
How do I
You
not
know
know this?
everything.
I know. How do I
Kia
not know
Carnival 4-row, 4 rows. Yep, and then go to images. There it is,
Wow.
my friend. I can't believe this one here. I can't believe you don't know this. As a 4-row.
No, the question on that post was, did the Carnival ever have 4 rows of seats?
And the answer is yes.
Yes.
Zoom out. There's pictures
Yep.
everywhere. This was a big thing when it came out.
Wow.
There's an 11-seater Carnival.
Wow.
The old 4-row. They didn't do it in the
That's
States.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Unfortunately, that interior photo is from
That's
a
a
Toyota
Chrysler.
Sienna.
Yeah. Well, is it a Sienna? No.
No.
Pull that up. Pull that up.
I mean, like,
go to that.
dude.
Go to that. Go to
Look,
that.
dude,
That's not a Sienna. What is that?
You think I don't? You think I don't spot Toyota interiors? That is some
Oh, yeah.
Toyota wood right there.
Yeah, it's a Toyota shifter. You're right. I apologize. Next question. I am Batman. Question for Kennan, but I'm going to answer it. Kennan said on the very first car pod of the year that he would buy a Cayenne. Is this going to be as real as the day we finally get to see Emily on the pod? Kennan ain't buying anything, folks. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to let you in a little secret. Since we started the pod, Kennan has said that he was going to be buying this car and that car and a GT4 and a Bikester Spider and a.
I never said GT.
Well, whatever, Bikester Spider, the convertible version, and a Lotus this, and a Viper that, and a Cayenne. It ain't happening,
Alpha at
people.
some point.
We baited you. No, I'm kidding. I was baited too, because I was hoping, but now I've realized.
Well, I looked and like nothing. Like I looked at Vipers. I called about Vipers. They just weren't around.
These questions about a Cayenne.
You're the one who told me that I should, instead of getting a Cayenne, I'm young. I don't have any kids. Like I should have sports cars. I should have more cars.
All right, fine.
And so
let
that's
me
why,
rephrase
that's
the
why I
question.
cut the Cayenne out,
But you
because
could've
I
bought
looked
a
at a GTS. Guy brought it here to the office. I was
recall.
very interested.
Let me
in buying it.
rephrase the question. Question for Kennan. Kennan said on the first pod of the year that he would buy a car. Will he? A car.
Yeah, eventually the M5 will break down. He'll have no choice.
Anything.
No, the M5 won't break down at all.
And that's the answer to that. Nope.
I don't think so, because again, I've kind of I don't know what I want anymore, because I'm very fortunate. I drive a lot of really cool cars for Cars and Bids all the time. I get to experience a lot of cool stuff. And my North Star was the 355 for a long time, and it broke my heart. And now I'm just like too nervous to buy anything, because I'm afraid it's going to happen again. And so
I give you like a middle star, like a star. It's somewhere out there in the sky.
maybe, I don't know. I just don't know.
What
I
about
want.
like just get a Viper?
Why?
He's not going to get any car. This is
Exactly.
what I'm starting to realize.
Which is
The
fine.
two of you are just bluster. At least I'm out here admitting.
I literally bought a car while I was in a meeting over there.
At least I'm out here admitting.
Yeah,
8
but months
after
ago,
talking
I
about
bought a
getting
car.
C7 or a 997
Yeah,
or
I
this
got
or
a
that,
Mark 8, which is
you
more than
bought,
7.
You Filippo'd, which is that you settled for something practical. Here's Filippo. Possible reality.
I've driven it 17,000 miles in the last 8 months.
I'm not saying you don't enjoy
I
it. I'm
bought
not
a car.
surprised you
I
do
was sitting
enjoy
in a
it.
car right there during a meeting. I bid on it during a show we were taping. I bought a car.
Filippo.
We know the story. This question is for me. And I think that the reality of it is, like, my point about it is, like, all the cars I want are $120 grand, $150,000. I just don't want to spend that. Like, that's the reality of it. Like, the Boxer Spider is in
I'm
the
gonna-
$100,000
I'm gonna let you
range.
in on a secret.
575 is $550.
When you get to the point where you can afford those cars, all the cars you want will be in the $300,000 range.
I know, that's the problem. That's why I jumped into buying a 355 when I did, because I was so
I'm
afraid
not saying they're going to go up in
buy.
value. I'm saying your tastes are going to change.
Oh.
That's what happens.
Maybe.
And so, like, at some point, you just have to. Every house buyer wants what's in the next price bracket, no matter how much money you have. Like, that's what. At some point, you just have to take a plunge. You've spent this entire year carless. You could have been driving around in a Viper. Okay, yes, the E305. I know. But you've had that same experience for 14 years.
10.
You could be driving around in a Viper today.
Yeah.
Also, our producer Sean came very close to getting you to buy an old Alpha.
I know,
or
I
a
shouldn't-
Fiat
I shouldn't
convertible.
have
He did,
You
and then
shouldn't-
he
you
said
blocked
some
that.
very
You shouldn't
derogatory
have.
things, and I,
know.
decided not
he
to buy
doesn't-
it.
And he was wrong. for doing so.
That was your fault. Maybe I should
You know
stop
what?
listening to you.
I'm
Yes,
supportive
always.
of any car at this point. Any car. You want to get an Acura ILX auto, not even stick auto? I'm
Yeah.
supportive.
Good thing I don't know what that is, but I think you guys, I just gotta stop listening to you guys.
Yes, of course. Stop
I
listening to
gotta
Doug at
buy what
least.
I want.
All right.
Yes.
Speaking of this exact thing, next question is from Monkey Mike. Kennan, first off, I'm sorry for this question. That said, having owned and sold on Cars and Bids a fully sorted low mileage E39 M5 and finding out that it didn't live up to the hype, what other cars the collective automotive hive mind has placed on such a high pedestal the experience can't possibly live up to the
Can
expectations?
we pull up this guy's?
Well, yeah, pull
Click,
it up.
click on.
Click on his username there. What was the car like? It was a mint.
Ooh, he sold some good
fully
cars.
Blue.
sorted, $28,000.
Oh yeah, fully sorted, just salvage title E39
It had
M5.
a
I'm sure.
salvage title.
I'm sure it was really nice.
You
It
didn't
drove nice
understand.
and straight after it was driven into a tree. You know, that's a mint example with black grills. Get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. This car's modded. Get out of here.
Monkey Mike, we
Really
appreciate you
nice
selling
example.
your cars on
You-
Cars and Bids. That car seems to do very well. It's clearly was a car that the market appreciated for a salvage
fine.
title car in
Blue,
2022.
blue.
Yeah, blue. Not a
The guy got hit while parked, by the way.
got hit while. Yeah,
In
sure
front?
it did. In the rear. I'll bet it was hit.
Well,
the
the-
rear
No,
'cause
it was hitting the front because all the front mods. It must have been hitting the front.
No, I think
No, that's not true.
both are
People just
doable.
put black grills on it for some stupid reason. God, it looks. So
I do agree. It looks worse with black girls. But other than that, this does look
Monkey
like a pretty
Mike,
nice car.
keep selling cars with us. Because Kennan, you were never going to ask Kennan a question about an E39 M5
Well,
where
so
you were
people's-
derogatory towards
People's
it.
definition of sorted and my definition of sorted are very different. From
Okay,
one
so
another,
so
but-
you're before we even get to the question, which I asked, but was
But what was the
Kennan
question?
already
Yeah, I
on a
forgot.
tear.
I forgot.
Before we get to that, your point is that he did not actually have a sorted E39 M5.
Look, I've driven dozens of them.
Yeah.
When you drive one that is actually like has had all of the suspension components replaced from H-arms down in the rear, like everything, it does make a big difference. And like they all are a little bit different. They've all lived different lives. And so like I have done everything there is to do. There's nothing left to be done.
Where is this one?
And Ryan Schultz too.
Go
Ryan's
down.
M5,
Didn't
which I've
you tell
driven
me
many times, is
That
really
Ryan's is
Scroll
better.
down.
Ryan's is better
Well, I thought you did everything that had to be done. So why is Ryan's
Roll
better?
down.
because I can't replace the wheels. That's the biggest
Oh, it
difference.
is in Simi Valley. Damn. Shit.
Ryan's
Mountains.
Ryan's is probably the nicest in the world, or
Can't
one of the
replace-
nicest.
Your wheels are unbalanced.
No, you can't replace the rears.
Okay,
They've
but
been no longer available
what's-
for a long
How does
time.
that
Look,
impact?
all right, all right,
Slightly
all
better.
right.
It's a whole thing.
I'm not going to get an E39 M5. The question is,
Does it live up to
what enthusiast cars have the collective hive mind placed on a pedestal so high that the experience can't possibly live up to expectations? You know, another great
gotta
example
go.
of that is another car that our friend Kennan owned.
my 355? Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't live up to my expectations, that's for sure. And I admit, like, the E39 would not live up to everybody's expectations, as there are certainly flaws with the driving experience, steering, weight, all those things. But there are a lot of a good example, 250 GTO probably deserves to be on that list for $100 million.
You see Harry's post today?
No, what he had to
Harry
say?
posted on Insta that there was like for some reason like 8 250 GTOs had to be moved from one event to another, and they asked him to do one of them. He was like, it was amazing, like hearing it full tilt while you're in the car, and also there's one in front of you.
Yeah, that's
So
some deep Harry.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
else gets that experience.
For the 250 GTO Transit, they're not calling me.
Right, for 9 of the 30 whatever around, that's pretty.
So there are probably a lot of cars that don't live up to
Yeah.
the expectations. I actually think a lot of them kind of feel that way.
The problem is expectation.
One thing I will say is my 3 cars, I really feel like lived up to my expectations. And that's one of the reasons I've been so reticent to do anything, sell or buy anything new. Like Countach blew away my expectations. Courage GT, I knew what to expect and love it. Ford GT, I think, is one of the great cars.
You've talked a lot about cars that surpassed your expectations. The GT350R, the Zonda, like a lot of cars that were a lot better.
F50.
Name another car. You must have driven some supercar that was like, this isn't actually that great. Was the F40 as great as?
Yeah, F40 is great. I mean, it needs brakes, which is why they all have been brake modded. But
Wyra.
Wyra is probably the best that I can think of.
Interesting.
Just don't feel like it really has the engine and transmission combination that the looks should suggest that it should have, which I presume they've figured out for Utopia. But Wyra was a little bit of a disappointment. There's probably other ones too. I can't really think of any offhands. But there are a lot of cars, I think, enthusiast cars that
well, I think
200 series Land Cruiser was one of mine. Woo.
You would say the 70 series, but I love the 70 series. And I've driven it thousands of miles. But I do think that there are a lot of cars that people put on pedestals that, especially as time goes on and they age, it's like you lose the ability to assess the car in its time period, given what it
Sure.
was, when it was built, what was in competition, what did a normal car feel like versus what does this feel like. You lose that ability.
Yeah.
And so like I think there are a lot of cars that are on that list. And for some people maybe it is the 39 M5, some people it is the 250 GTO. It just
Expectations are
The killer of joy,
thing.
the robber of joy, right?
You hated your Ferrari 360 because you expected it to do something that
And then
it
years
was
later,
never
I
going to
drove
do.
one with no expectation
Right.
and loved it.
And like, I was reading a news article on NVIDIA earlier because NVIDIA earnings are out for Q2, and their earnings were up 56%, and their stock market is notably down because analysts expected it to be up 60% or thereabouts. Right, so like. Expectations are what kills it. If you go in with expectations that are more realistic for what the car can deliver based on where and when it's from, based on the era, the problem is that some people have built up cars to be something that they're not.
I will tell you, I more frequently have the opposite interaction, which is that I have a low expectation and the car delivers better. And I can come up with a lot of examples of that.
Yes.
That's way better.
The Fiero.
But Mark,
The Mark A GTI is so much better than I expected because every review was quite critical.
RX-8.
much better than you
RX-8 is
It
one of
truly
my
is.
all-timers for that.
Tell you what, it's so much better than expected because you didn't expect to have one at all. But mark my words, one day I suspect I'll go back to the 355 with that more seasoned perspective, maybe.
That's interesting. Next question from Ronnie F430. Hey, Doug, why does every YouTuber/journalist praise the Miata so highly as the best driver's car, but rarely do they have it as their main car? Is there some flaw in it? Yeah, it's small.
It's a really
You
small
ever-
automobile.
You ever been in one? It's little. You have it as a fun weekend car, and then you put it away, and you get back into your third-gen 4Runner.
Yep.
And honestly, that garage, those two cars, an ND and a third-gen 4Runner.
pretty good
No, you know
garage.
what? An ND2 and a fourth-gen 4Runner. That's all you need.
Third gens.
It's all
You know what? No. An NDRF and a fifth-gen 4Runner.
And a Honda Passport.
Oh.
The ND is a small two-seat automobile without that much storage space that's not that comfortable for long trips. And that's why it's not many people's only car.
It is a great car.
It's a small vehicle. If you haven't been next to
Too
one,
small.
it's a small vehicle. No, I want one.
No, but too small.
people-
The question is,
yeah.
why do people not use it as their main car?
Yeah,
and that's
that's
your
why.
answer. Like, it's ultimately like a little car.
Yeah, which it should be. That
It's
should be
it's
the
an
goal.
amazing car and it's fun, but like the question asker, I guarantee you, is not old enough to want prioritize comfort or have a family or anything. Like once you get into your 30s, you're pushing 40 up. Like you don't necessarily want to be getting into this as your only car every day. And once you have kids, whenever, like this isn't a thing you can use as like a frequent vehicle.
Here's the fact.
Yeah.
A GTI, Mark A GTI.
Yeah.
Is 169 inches long, more or
Yeah.
less.
Wow, that's
The-
shockingly small.
The ND Miata is 154 inches long. It's 15 inches shorter than my GTI.
I don't even know if
That
I
is
believe
small.
the GTI stat, to be honest with you. I'm
I don't know what to tell you.
just not.
I did
get out of
trust.
tape
I
measure.
did trust Google's AI overview, so like who knows? But it's a small vehicle. It's notably shorter than a GTI, which is not that big a vehicle to start with.
A couple more questions that are all pretty good. EVs and clutch pedals. Doug DeMuro, to what extent do you still write the Doug's take on listings, and how difficult does it get for you to be diplomatic and positive when writing about the certain cars? I don't write them, but our editors write them, and I look over every single one without exception. I look at every single Doug's take. All of them, which means that I do look at every single car that goes live on the site, not just when they're posted, but before they're posted. I look at every single car without exception. How difficult does it get for you to be diplomatic and positive? The thing you got to remember is, like, I, more than anybody that you'll meet, am like a huge believer in the market. And so, like, I just, some of the cars I wouldn't buy, but like at the right number, the market decides that's what it's worth. Like Ghibli is a good example. Yeah, like this at 13, 14, like these are pretty appealing cars. I've always said bad things about that car, but like it starts to become appealing, and that's what the market values it at, and so that's what it's worth, and so that's what people believe it to be worth. And so, like, to me, I don't know. I don't think it requires that much heavy lifting compared to if we were selling new cars, and
Right.
and you have to say stuff like, we sell the Passport this way because we want to provide a balanced experience for our customers.
I will also say more so than I think anybody realizes, and than anybody else I know, like almost every car. You like all cars in some way or another.
Yeah, I can
It's like
find
very
something-
rare that you like truly don't like it or can't identify why that specific one is interesting. or
has
special.
some benefit. Yeah, totally. Especially the stuff we sell. Like the really basic stuff, the basic Korean stuff, I have trouble with.
Wow.
But if it's on our site, there's something about it that's cool.
Yeah.
Even if it's sanely modded, even if it's whatever. Like there's something about it that's cool, and I get that.
Yep.
Next question. I'm sorry. You have something?
No, I was going to
Okay,
say the other thing is, like, even if there are cars that are in back edition or whatever, your argument is, well, you can always turn it into a track car. And like, there's always an angle,
car,
like
baby.
there is always a positive to be found with these cars because we accept cool stuff. And so, yeah, I agree. Although, man, you've looked over a lot of Doug's takes.
Yeah.
It's wild to me.
We're at
Next
over
question.
30,000 options. So,
Next
yeah.
question from Mart Walk. Question for Doug. If and when the time comes to sell one of your exotic cars, would you list it as no reserve on Cars and Bids? Heck yeah. Next question from Battlefront Brigadier. Here's my question. You should buy that Ram. This guy, Battlefront Brigadier.
Battlefront should.
Question for Doug. How do you buy your cars, finance, cash, etc.? The answer used to be that I would finance them because PenFed would loan me. I bought every car with a PenFed loan, and San Diego's like the only city in the country with a physical PenFed location. Really? It's like San Diego and DC are like the only two because of the military presence. And so like you could go in and come out with a check. Like you didn't have to do the whole thing over the phone and wait for a representative and all that stuff. It's in Kearney Mesa, and
I was looking up, but yeah,
or Miramar. I guess
in Miramar, yeah.
But with the interest rate so high, I've had to start using cash to buy my vehicles, which is insane. I know all the other YouTubers rent them or lease them or do some sort of creative financing situation, but that ain't Doug, unfortunately. I wish it was. I wish we were still at a 2% interest rate situation, but I have a lot of cash tied up in cars, and it could be going to better use, such as getting Filippo a water feature in his home.
Ooh,
wow!
Is that what it's when like a pipe leaks?
No, that's like this Rolls-Royce water feature here. That's what we're going for.
Okay, next question from Chris 182. Actually, no, I'll do Eric 44, then Chris 182, then I'm done. Eric 44. Hey, Doug, would you ever consider going to Bowden Auto House to get a custom exhaust for your Carrera GT? I get asked all the time about custom exhaust for the Carrera GT because the Carrera GT is one of the great sounding cars of all time. And if you listen on YouTube or on Instagram, some of the clips, there are custom exhausts that sound absolutely unbelievable. The problem with me getting a custom exhaust, I drive the car much more often than any other Carrera GT owner, certainly in the United States. There are some European owners that drive it as much as me, but I drive the car more often than anybody else. I live in a city. I do not live out in the country like Kennan with his horses.
I live down the street from
he keeps a family of muskrats in his outbuilding. I don't do any of that. And so the problem is that driving the car so much, I don't want it to be annoying. And every exhaust I have ever heard for that car, as great as it sounds at full throttle, is unbelievably annoyingly loud at low RPMs and idle. And it would stop me from wanting to drive the car. It would wake up my neighbors when I take the car out early. I took Countach out at 7 a.m. this morning and I felt so bad. It would wake up the car a little bit more, but it is not something I'm interested in doing for that. I've never heard, in all the YouTube clips I've ever heard of Carrera GT exhaust, I have never heard of one that is quiet enough in a normal situation that even the valved one, they're just too loud. They just put too much into it.
And I'll tell you the great secret about the Carrera GT is when you put the roof on, you get to enjoy the induction noise. And the induction noise of that car is just as good as the exhaust. It is so spectacular in that thing.
I do love driving the roof on now. I've kind of committed to just doing it.
I firmly believe it. Maybe it's in your book you have on it that it was supposed to always be a coupe and not a convertible, but it was so stiff they could just take the roof off. American consumers would want that, and so they did it. But I have a feeling. And the other thing is, like, it does sting. Even with a great exhaust on it, you get to hear it echo off of things. The best place to be in a Carrera GT is the car behind it, because that's where you get to hear all the sound anyway. So roof on, induction noise, that's your answer, and it's very good.
And you know what? The Carrera GT, and I maintain this, and I will forever, is the greatest car designed at a strip mall in Huntington Beach.
Stiff competition.
Okay, final question from Chris 182. No greater car has been designed in a strip mall in suburban Los Angeles. You understand that? Mm-hmm. Don't come at me with your other cars designed in suburban LA strip malls.
I've got others, but I'll let it be.
Chris 182, question for the group.
Yeah.
Can you guys outline your automotive careers and how you got where you are today? I've already talked a lot about mine. I actually would like if Filippo, because we don't hear a lot about Filippo's past.
Yeah.
Like, we know Kennan worked for an exotic car dealership. He references it sometimes. I want to hear about Filippo's story, about his journey. We know he's Italian. We know he lived in Wisconsin. We don't really understand how both those things happen at once.
Right.
Like, take us through kind of the journey, if you will.
A short view back at the past. Filippo?
No, I'll take it from my professional career.
Oh, really? We don't get to hear the early days?
Before Cars and Bids, all of my jobs were education focused. I worked in education data, worked with school districts on education finance stuff. But I've known Doug
for
for a
those
long
of
time.
us who don't know what that means, which even though I've known you for 12 years includes me, what is education data? I mean, am I wrong? Like you're sitting here like, what is he talking about? What is education data and education finance for the audience?
For the audience, who certainly cares about these greatly, the retention is gonna plummet at this moment of the podcast. Luckily, it's the end. I worked for a company where we worked with state departments of education and school districts to develop like school accountability report cards, to do data analysis on which schools, which teachers were creating better outcomes for their students. And then after that, I worked for quite a while at a company that works with school districts on better budgeting and managing of their resources, how to be more equitable, how to plan better, using a software product that we built.
So
to
you were
make
like
that
a
happen.
consultant, and they would call you up and say, "Yo, dude, this is Omaha Federal or Omaha Unified or whatever
There you
they're
go,
called."
closer.
I don't know how it works. This is Lincoln, Nebraska area schools. We got some budget issues.
Or
can you help us?
For that company, it was a software as a service company where we sold to school districts and some other educational entities a product, and I helped them implement it, and I did kind of the data ETL transformation from their enterprise resource planning system
The data
to
ETL,
our own product.
the ERP.
The ETL from their ERP.
Let me ask you this: how the hell then?
God, I don't know, man. That's a good question. I've known Doug for a long time. I used to film videos with you back in 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
When you first got the Hummer, the video was poorly shot and shaky because I was filming
For
it.
years, Filippo filmed
Yeah.
my videos. A year, 2 years.
And then when you started Cars and Bids, I thought that I could apply some of my like data knowledge and car expertise and kind of combine those into one thing. Have I been successful in that? God knows. No.
Well, yes. You started by writing listings for
I
us.
started writing listings just because I could put words together with a keyboard. Yeah.
Yes, you struggled sometimes. I was I got to review your
Accident-free
listings
auto
and-
check
So
vehicle
that's-
history report
There
messes me
it
up
is.
sometimes.
So
There
that's
it is.
Filippo's history.
Yeah.
That's Filippo's history. He worked
Yeah.
in education something or other. You heard it. And he was trying to optimize schools and school districts. To me, it sounds like he was like the private equity for schools. Like he was
we were
getting
not
teachers
a
fired.
Particularly, we were all
No.
Want to be really clear about this? No, we were all about helping school districts develop better budget
Why?
planning processes.
We were helping to improve the school.
But it
sometimes
does
by
mean-
reducing
no,
the personnel.
no. Better budgeting is good.
Budgeting, yeah.
The Joe Biden quote that we used a lot at the time.
This'll be good.
That was, don't tell me what you value, show me your budget, and I'll tell you what you value.
Oh, yeah.
And our goal was to make it easier for school districts to actually kind of connect their goals
values
with
with
how
their
they were
budget. Okay,
spending.
that's real.
Can
Kennan, tell
Wait,
us.
can I say one other thing?
Well,
Yeah, I'm very
Prior
curious.
to cars, people at all my prior jobs did not know that I was into cars.
Right.
This was not a part of my.
I mean, I
my
work
friends
with you,
did.
and sometimes I question it too.
My friends did sometimes, but it was not a part of my life. And now for the last 5 years, 'cause it's been 5 years this week of being a full-time Cars and Bits employee.
Wow.
Wow.
There's been like an incredibly large part of my life publicly. Interesting.
Well, and you were always into cars. Like,
I
always
was, but it
felt
wasn't like my personality, you know?
Yeah, but I always felt like you belonged in some sort of automotive
Mm-hmm.
role, and I still believe that. I truly believe that the rest of your career should be in automotive, whether it's here or elsewhere. I truly believe that. It's just
brother.
he's just into
RJ,
it.
call me up.
He's into it, and he's good at it. RJ, call me up. He's already.
RJ, yeah, RJ will call you. At some point.
Kennan, you want to give us a brief overview here of your situation?
Sure.
As I recall, you're from Ohio.
Talked about it a couple times. Yeah, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I started working at an exotic car dealership when I was there. I had known the family that owns it for a long time. They were looking for someone to help with their digital media presence and like marketing in general. I started working there, and then I reached out to you because we wanted you to come look at a LaFerrari that we had, and it didn't quite work out. You were moving from Philadelphia out to San Diego. We started talking about San Diego. I'd met you previously when my M5 broke down at one of your meets, and you remembered who I was as a result. And then I was out here for a car event, the La Jolla Concours d'Elegance, and I had mentioned to you that I wanted to. I'd isolated my focus at that point to living in San Diego, which was a lifelong dream of mine because the weather. I mean, Cleveland to here, who wouldn't want to?
Right.
And then. And I wanted to work for an auction company, one of the established houses. But you were already thinking of
We are one of the
starting,
established houses.
well, now, not then. And we were thinking about starting this company, and I think you went home and told your wife that day, it's like, I think we found someone who can help us do this. And I was the first person that he called when it was time to like hire people.
Yeah.
And the team that built the back end of the site and what it looks like now had put something together, and I didn't hesitate.
You were the first employee.
I was the first employee, and then I was supposed to come out, ship my car, all my stuff, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And it was a whole thing from there. But eventually, I got out here, we launched it, and here we are.
Yeah.
And by the way, for those who don't know and are curious, Nick's background, he was on the podcast sometimes, is that he was raised by wild boars in the hills of Tennessee. So there we go. That's the podcast for today. The greatest one we've ever done, but only if they keep in that stuff about Paris Hilton and Traverse City. If they take that stuff out, this podcast was a waste of time. If you're watching this right now and you haven't seen anything about Paris Hilton and Traverse City, you got screwed.
You think we would have cut this part too?
Paris Hilton, Traverse City, goodbye, everyone. You can't cut it now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.